Welcome to the Expert in You Showcase, the show where we bring you quick, powerful conversations with elite entrepreneurs and other professional business experts to share their best strategies, secrets, and tips to help you have more success in your business and life. I'm your host, Carden, and this show is brought to you by Expert in You, where we empower professional entrepreneurs, business owners, and experts to become influential figures and celebrities in their markets and add 6 to 7 figures with more ease. Discover a game-changing secret that attracts leads, qualifies them effortlessly, warms them up for your offer, and hands them over ready to say yes. We want to make closing deals for you a breeze. It's time to stop chasing clients and consistently fill your calendar with highly qualified conversations and sales opportunities every month. Increase your influence, impact, and accelerate your income and strategies that work. Book your business accelerator call with me now at acarden.com and let's map out your next step. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. I am super excited about my guest today. I have Jeremy Bishop with me, and Jeremy has done some amazing things in the personal branding space. And I have a feeling we're going to geek out on this because there are a lot of similarities in what we do, but we do it in a different way. But he has worked with a lot of celebrities. He's worked with a lot of celebrity brands, and he just has a great system that he builds out for people. And so I'm really excited to dive into this conversation with him. So Jeremy, welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to really bringing some value to the table here, hopefully, so people can take something away.
I know you will. So you have done some great things. I want to start just a little bit, Jeremy, with how you got into this. How did you get into really building out influencer celebrity brands, personal brands? And we're going to dive into, do you need a company brand, personal brand? We're going to dive into that a little bit. Yeah. How did you get into this originally?
Yeah, so I wanted to solve my own problem, okay? Like many, awesome businesses start with, I was 19 years old getting introduced to network marketing, okay? And I had a blast for the first few years with a company, and it's where I had my first little bit of success and built this really big affiliate network of like 5,000 people. And I get a call one day and they had an internal problem and they shut down, okay? So I'm looking back and I'm like, man, after 3-4 years of doing all this hard work, I looked back and said, if I could have done one thing more, I would have focused on building my name just as much as any company or product or industry that I might represent at the time. And so in my early 20s, that just kind of led me down this mission to not only figure out how I could build my name, the credibility around my name, the personal brand that kind of phrase that we use now, just figure out how to utilize it and build a system. And of course, many years later, that's kind of led through this entire journey of creating Influencer Club and building an entire team around systems that I wanted to create for myself. And it turns out that has certainly helped a lot of others as well.
Yeah, that's great. So what's your part in the business? So you have a team, and what is your part in the business?
So I work hands-on with every single one of our members to really help them create a big picture for their brand, okay? So you can have all the systems in the world, but if you don't believe or if you can't see for yourself what might be possible in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then none of that matters, right? So I really take what I've gone through in developing systems, but also just realizing all of the amazing people I've met, the stages I've been able to speak on, and podcasts and clients and networks, all these things that happened because I made certain decisions, and so I want to help people. I really help my members kind of open up what they think is possible through their brand. Yeah.
I love it. One of the things I want to talk about is company brand versus personal brand. And one of the things I tell people all the time, if you have a company brand and you are either what I would maybe consider an entrepreneur, so talk about maybe a real estate broker, but they have realtors. Those realtors, people are still doing business with people, right? And so
Yeah.
those realtors need to be building their own personal brand. Plus, they may decide they want to start their own company. They may decide they want to switch companies. And when you pigeonhole yourself under a company umbrella, you are missing those opportunities. But the other side of that is CEOs now are realizing they need a personal brand on top of having a company brand. And so I think it is something, because of social media, because of just the digital world that we're in today, I think it is no longer negotiable. I believe that everyone should have a personal brand, even if you're an employee of a company. If you're running the company, it makes no difference. We all need to be building a strong personal brand. Would you agree with that, Jeremy, or would you add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, one of the biggest challenges with kind of getting started on this personal brand journey is thinking that you need to be a company owner,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll start my, working on my personal brand. Okay. But you're absolutely right. There are so many incredible employees that have
Mm-hmm.
built and done incredible things in a company, and there's a ton of opportunity to show who you are, what you're currently doing, and yeah, when the time comes for you to move on or move forward or move up, okay, that's a part of your value add in
Right.
your current company or anything that you do in the future. And so, yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's a really, really strong point. Both CEO and a lot of them are looking back, going, "Damn, I should have gotten this
Right.
thing
There, yeah.
rolling."
When was the best time to do that? Like
Yeah,
yesterday, right? A year ago.
exactly.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
So.
true. So you talk specifically more around the kind of the influencer. It's called the Influencer Club. Dive into that just a little bit and sort of the phases that you take people through, and then who might be a good fit for that.
Yeah, so my company Influencer Club, we kind of have this 18-month initial process that our members go through, and there's a phase one, two, and three. Phase one is kind of the foundation of a really strong account and personal brand. And so we focus heavily on Instagram and LinkedIn, and we help our members really show what they do in real life and correlate it with the success that they have, make sure that it correlates with their success on social media. So a lot of my members, when we meet them, they've already built pretty successful businesses, or they're in the momentum phase of their business. And when you go into their personal brand or you Google their name, there's hardly anything, right?
Right.
And I mean, it's crazy. Some of my guys I meet, they're doing $1 billion a year in real estate production, and they've got 500 followers. No one knows who they are. They're not getting invited to the podcast interview. They're not on the speaking events. And so the foundation is catching up to speed, making sure that they have, we call it the 100K club. So influencer publications, making sure they have a strong following. Then we move into podcast booking, getting their message out there, leveraging other platforms to build their kind of online resume, brand resume. And then phase three, we actually help them go build relationships that are going to impact the business. So
Right.
partnerships, brand partnerships, high level, high net worth connections, depending on their end goal and their focus. So yeah, hope that gives you a good
Yeah,
overview.
that's so great. Question though, and someone listening might say this: why does somebody doing $1 billion a year need to even worry about this? They already have an incredible business. Who cares if
Yeah.
if anybody knows who they are, because they have an incredible business already? What would be your response to that?
Well, number one, whether you like it or not, you're right. Okay. You do not need to have a personal brand in order to continue succeeding in anything that you do. There are so many ways to have success. There is the old school, as real estate as an example. There's the old school individual that has been in the business for 30, 40 years. They have relationships, they have no social media, you'll never hear their name, and they are wildly successful, and they can continue doing that. There's the individual who is new in the business, and maybe they actually need to tap into their personal brand, because if they wish to attract new agents and kind of keep up with everything that's happening now, yeah, unless they want to, go the old school route and cold call for the next 10 years and send mail, building a personal brand might be a really, really strong option for them. But in the case of somebody who is already successful, why would they start building this brand? Well, if if they're not getting fulfillment okay, out of the ecosystem of opportunities alongside their business. I mean, have you ever met somebody who is wildly successful, but wishes that they made a bigger impact, wishes that they had a new coaching program, or they would love to go speak on stage and tell their story? Even if someone is successful, if they don't have the brand to represent it, they're not invited to the speaking stage. They're not invited to the podcast to tell their story. And so if that person has a desire to go out and share their story, make an impact, and continue creating and continue moving forward, then that's where I think the personal brand and expanding comes into place. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, well said. So how can someone get, when you take somebody through the first phase of building their personal brand, what are some of the things that you do with them and look at with them to sort of get those foundational pieces in place?
Yeah. So the first thing we do is kind of like a page audit. And this is usually really, really fun for a lot of high level producers, because everyone has this kind of Mount Everest idea of what their content needs to be, okay, and how their page is supposed to look. And that's honestly why most people never get started.
Right.
Because they're like, well, I don't have a content team. I'm going to have somebody follow me around, 24/7. And that's just not true. Okay. Just like anything, building a quality brand is very, very simple. So we start with a page audit, and I call it the balance of the brand. So there's three keys. You have the professional, your personal, and kind of hobbies and lifestyle. And so imagine you're taking someone's page from almost nothing. The first thing they can do to create a quality image is just start uploading photos, videos that represent them in a professional space with partners, clients, colleagues, a personal space, friends, family. This could be just, out to dinner with loved ones, or, a weekend getaway, hobbies and lifestyle. Do you like to go hiking? Are you in the gym? Or do you play a sport? Are you a musician? These three things, if you can just get up a good amount of content, kind of like a family photo album mixed with a business card, you have an immediate way for someone to get an insight into you. Okay. And so the first thing we'll do with anyone is kind of like a page audit, bringing some of that content to the forefront, getting rid of the images of just business, business, business 24/7. I mean, that's great, but people want to know about you first, and then they will find out about the business and connect with you. So yeah, I hope that gives a little bit of an overview for anybody listening. Balance the brand.
Yeah, that's great. So what is Instagram critical for everyone?
Not necessarily, although if you want to utilize a platform that allows people to get an insight into who you are, what you do, and easily and quickly make an emotional decision to want to do business with you, I think Instagram is an incredible platform. If you have a LinkedIn platform where you have a resume, you have what you do, how long you've been doing it, your companies, all of these professional things. Well, would you agree that sometimes people do business with us for many other reasons than just
Sure.
our professional resume, right? So that's where Instagram comes into play and allows people to share, kind of the personal side to their brand as well as the professional. I think that does a lot of justice, and you've seen a lot of business owners start to tap into that, their personality, just as much as their company resume.
Well, and what they stand for. I mean, you will see them, even we just went through an election, right? And you could very quickly see who supported who. And the influencers out there were very open and bold about their views and their thoughts. But that does become part of your brand, who you
Yeah.
are. And if you're hiding that, right, you want to make sure a brand should be attracting the people that you want to align yourself with in business. And so that is all part of who I'm a Christian, and I have certain political views and certain mission work that I support. And I want that to come out, and that comes out when I'm talking about it in videos. I'm not afraid to hide that. And so that's
Yeah.
an important piece that people should know too. So that's kind of what you're talking about with Instagram. Do you feel like, from a revenue standpoint, Instagram works for every industry, or do you feel like it's really great? It's great for fitness people. It's great for people selling courses. It's great for people selling a lot of times low end services or in a particular industry. But is it the right thing for somebody who's trying to get to high level CEOs or build with people at a higher caliber? Hi, friend. I have an exciting announcement. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Expert in You podcast, but I have to ask you, have you checked out the latest issue of Expert in You magazine yet? It's jam-packed with rich content, powerful strategies, inspiring stories, and so much more to help you elevate your business and personal growth. Don't miss out. Go grab your digital copy now and join our community of experts making a difference every day. Go to expertinyoumagazine.com and check out your digital copy today. Transform your expertise into success with Expert in You magazine. It's not just a publication, it is a movement.
That's a great question because, people put platforms and opportunities in boxes. Okay. And so they say, this platform isn't for me. I'm trying to raise $150 million in family money. I need to be on LinkedIn, or maybe they say I'm not on any of these platforms. I shouldn't be on any of these. Okay. If you utilize these platforms, they can benefit your business tremendously. As an example, you'll see real estate investors that have shown the ability to raise tens of millions of dollars through Instagram crowdfunding for real estate. I have members myself that have gone and raised millions of dollars through Instagram within just the first few months of kind of getting confident in utilizing their brand. So in certain positions in business, is it necessary? Again, this kind of comes back to this question. Is it necessary for them to have an Instagram account? Well, maybe not. They're probably not going to lose their job if they don't. They're not going to lose out on the next deal necessarily. They've already got something in place that's working. But the real question is, if somebody were to Google your name, okay,
I use that a lot. Google yourself.
Sure, yeah. If somebody else who is a decision maker, or the son or daughter of the decision maker, and you're talking about so and so, yeah, we might do a deal with this guy. We're thinking it through, and they look up and they find that this person is up to speed. You can clearly see that it's a man or woman, maybe the husband, wife, they have kids, and you can see all of that on top of their professional resume. Mm-hmm. That's going to make a big difference. There are a lot of CEOs out there. There are a lot of really suit and tie, great LinkedIn accounts out there. But what's missing is when you're not the CEO, okay, from 9 to 5, who are you? Because that makes a big difference. Some of the biggest investments I've watched people make are because of personal feeling reasons. They say, I really love so-and-so. I like that he or she is this with the family, or I like that they also play the same sport as I do, or they have kids in the same school, right? These things, these tiny little things that seem so insignificant. Why would I ever do Instagram? Mm-hmm. I mean, that could be the difference between a deal happening or not. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's such good advice. Now, I have not heard you say Facebook. I have not heard you say TikTok. What are your thoughts around those platforms? You mentioned Instagram and LinkedIn. Let's talk about those other platforms. And is that something that you also do, or do you stick mostly with, and you haven't mentioned YouTube either, although I think YouTube's probably in there with LinkedIn and Instagram.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts around that too.
Yeah, I think each platform, the question is not, should I be on all of them? The question is, which platform should I go really deep on? Okay. And so you just have to look at your business and make these decisions. And one will not work faster than another. Okay. One will not be better than another. YouTube is incredible for long form content. You're going to have to put in time and effort and build that out. Instagram is a great brand kind of, overview, and for somebody to see who you are and the balance. Facebook, it's an incredible platform to obviously run ads. It's a really, really great business tool for anybody out there spending a lot of money. So you just kind of have to decide which platform. TikTok, I don't really have much insight or or advice on whether to use TikTok or not. I think it's kind of wild, wild west. You have a lot of people who have become massively famous and incredibly successful for that. And again, if you want to go play that game, heck yeah, more power to you. But yeah, I think you just have to decide. And again, for us, the reason that our focus for our members is mainly Instagram and LinkedIn, or these are just platforms that we've been able to build really strong systems around. Okay, something that you can look at the end of the month, see it growing, see the relationships happening, and so that's why that's just been such a helpful kind of combination of the two.
Yeah. What are one or two mistakes people make when they're trying to build their brand?
One or two. One, I would say focusing on really small, getting distracted by kind of some of the wrong metrics to be paying attention to. Okay.
Okay, like what?
So a lot of people will come and immediately think, I need to make content. I have to become a content creator. And, as long as my views on my videos are increasing, I'm going in the right direction. And as an example, the real focus and the end result that most people actually want is, let's say, more connections, more relationships, more potential business, things that are going to impact the actual bottom line of their business. Now, if you want to become an influencer in the sense of, going viral and earning money from these platforms, that's a whole nother process. But for most high-level producers and business people, they really want that actual tangible end result. Okay.
Right.
And so instead of worrying so much about how many likes or views, I would say focus on how many people am I speaking with, how many phone numbers, connections, contacts in my target demographic am I pulling from this? Does my page look good? Are people going, wow, when they see it? Okay. Because imagine not having a single new connection from social media, but imagine you had a strong enough brand that every person that you are already in potential deals with takes a look at your account and goes, holy smokes. Imagine increasing by 30+% everyone that you are already possibly going to do business with right now, just because you have a stronger brand resume when they look you up, when they decide to do some research. Okay.
Yeah. So Jeremy, you decided to get on my show here. Why?
Yeah. Well, why not? This is an incredible opportunity for a few reasons. Number one, I will have a conversation with anyone. Okay. You never know who's on the other end of a message. You never know who's on the other end of a great phone call, 5-minute phone call. You never know who's on the other end of a great podcast. I mean, before we started this podcast, you were already asking me questions about how we could possibly build a relationship together and do something more than just this podcast. And so for anybody out there listening, two pieces of advice. One, all of the hosts that you might listen to and the podcast that you listen to, they are more accessible than you might think. You just need to get some,
100%.
You just have to have a little confidence to get your butt out there and go send that message and inquire. Okay. And two, a lot of people say this or that is a waste of my time. This is not my target audience. This isn't my target podcast. You need, especially in the beginning, if you haven't already done a lot of these, you need to get rid of that thought and see if you can't bring some value to every opportunity that comes your way and show up for it. So
yeah, it's kind of like what we teach people when they're first, I've been speaking for 40 years, but I've always really, most of my speaking has been to build businesses. I've built a lot of businesses. And I used to tell people, just get in front of people and speak. The Rotary Club may not be, the room full of little old men may not be your target audience, but you need to get in front of people and speak. It gives you credibility. It gives you experience. It gives you pictures. There's just so many things you can get from that opportunity. And what you're talking about, podcasts are the same way, is to make sure that you just get out there and you start doing it. And a lot of people have fear around that. And I always say, it's just because you haven't done it before, but it's so much fun when you actually do it and you get to meet great people all over the world. And my podcast is one of my favorite things to do in my business. So just like what we have been talking about, where are the opportunities, who knows who, and how can you collaborate and do things together and share? And it's just so much fun. So it's part of building up that personal brand. Final thoughts, Jeremy, before we wrap it up.
Final thoughts, there is a really tough barrier to break through for anyone out there. And it's the same exact challenge that everyone has, no matter what level they're at in business. So everyone says the same thing, which is, I'm not a social media person. I haven't figured out what my brand is. Kind of these same challenges that everyone has. And I would say find somebody, okay, like you, Anne, or find somebody like myself, because all you need is to get one person, the right person in your corner to push you to go do some really, really, really amazing things. Okay.
Yeah.
And so on top of everything you've done with the business, especially if you've had amazing success, building the personal brand can open up a whole new ecosystem of opportunity, of relationships, and just
Yes.
kind of a new flow of all things considered. So if you're thinking about doing something like that, find somebody who can push you to get out of the comfort zone. You're usually just kind of 1 degree off from having some really, really special stuff happen that way. So that would be mine.
So true. So true. Who's the biggest celebrity you've ever worked with, or the biggest account you've worked with, Jeremy?
Well, I don't think there's or one person in particular, but what's funny is because a lot of really big names, they all had this same problem and challenge of kind of going from, as an example, one of my long-term members and a close friend of mine, his name is Rich Redman. He's the drummer for the Jason Aldean band, if anybody is a country music fan out there. And when we met 5, 6 years ago, he had this challenge. He's like, Jeremy, I'm playing in front of 20,000 people a night, and I don't have the brand to represent that. And so it's just a little reminder that some of the incredible influencers or high-level business individuals that you might see, I was very fortunate to learn from a mentor who helped people like Grant Cardone, Patrick Bet-David, Damon John, Kevin O'Leary, all go reach their first 1 million followers and above. And so just remember, even the biggest names out there, they have a team. Okay. They have a team to come in and help them go reach new heights. And so I think that's something that's important to know, is it doesn't always just happen by waiting around and hoping, that
It
if I
doesn't
put,
happen by accident, that's for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. It doesn't happen
No,
by
there has to
accident.
be a strategy behind it, and there has to be some action behind it. So
Exactly.
yeah, Jeremy, this has been great. Thank you so much for being my guest. I have loved this conversation. I know we could talk for a long time around this topic. And what's new for you in 2025? What are your big goals?
Yeah, well, there are about 80,000 agents, real estate agents out in the world that produce 20 million in revenue and above. And so there are a lot of individuals that need to know that there are opportunities, that there are people, that there are networks, that there are deals that they can tap into. And hopefully we're able to help a lot of people do that sooner than later in their momentum of their career. So that's what we're excited to do. Just go make an impact, go help.
How are you finding them? How do you find them?
Through systems, through the internet, through social media, through platforms, through all things considered. Yeah, I mean, they're there. And that's kind of just a reminder. If you don't think that your target audience exists on any given platform, I promise you, just take a look. You've got everyone is there. So all you have to do is kind of, look for it, build a system, and go after it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being my guest. And until next time, everyone, God bless you. Have an amazing day and go rock your business. Bye-bye. If you are ready to attract high-paying clients like clockwork, build powerful influence, and scale your business with ease, let's talk. Book a complimentary $1 Million Accelerator Strategy call at acarden.com to discover how the Expert in You method can help you create a steady stream of premium clients and consistent revenue growth. Don't wait. Your next big breakthrough starts with a simple conversation. Visit acarden.com and let's make it happen. Have an amazing day, and God bless you.